Welcome to The Younger Me, a 10-part interview video series where we feature some of our very own VetTech alumni students who are currently working in various professional fields. We hope that these videos will give you a glimpse of the possibilities after you graduate for you to set bigger and bolder goals. Enjoy.
Hello everybody, my name is Nigel.
And I'm Elena.
And today we have Shermaine with us.
Hello everyone.
Thank you for joining us today. Can you give us maybe a brief introduction of maybe your background and what you've done after TP?
Yeah, so during my time in TP, I think this was about 6 to 7 years back. So I graduated in 2014, had a seahorse breeding internship with the aquarium, known as Sea Aquarium. And I was there for about 3 years before moving on to the research side of things with NUS as a veterinary technician. So I've had both experiences working with animals, aquatics and mammals, and as well as working in the laboratory setting as well.
Okay. So okay, let's just take a quick blast to the past and go through maybe what do you enjoy most about working at Sea Aquarium?
What do I enjoy most? I would say that it's a very different experience from what you get with working in a veterinary clinic, right? So most of the animals you'd see are domesticated pets that get brought in, but in the aquarium, I'm seeing varieties of fishes. I'm working with marine mammals, and then we're working with hundreds of species, including like corals and rarer species of animals as well. Things that are listed under the CITES, including those species as well. So I would say that this experience is not what you can get a lot of in Singapore, since currently the aquarium is the only place that houses these marine mammals. Of this extensive range at least.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then obviously, with my internship, I got to work on Hippocampus cumes, which is a certain local species of seahorse. So the entire process, what I've learned is very unique to what was taught to me in school. And it was added value on top of what I've already learned what the knowledge I've gained from my diploma in veterinary technology back then.
Yeah. It's pretty rare to see seahorses normally anyway. So I guess getting to work with them is pretty unique in a way.
Yeah, and they are very difficult species to breed as well. And that's why from what most people know, right? Male seahorses and how they are the ones that give birth to their young, right? Life. So then they give birth to so many, and then only one in maybe a few hundred would actually survive in the wild. Yeah. So that's one of the challenges as well.
Can you tell us more about why you chose to do aquatic instead of terrestrial animals in clinics?
Honestly, if I were to be really, really honest, the internship was granted to me purely by chance. It was my second choice because I thought that I might not be able to get it. But because I found that it was quite a unique experience. It was something that wasn't what was taught in school. And then because I wanted to build upon that knowledge, I didn't want to just limit myself to just research-based animals like mice and rats, as well as we learned in school like fishes, right? Aquatics, horseshoe crabs. And in general, I take more to the aquarium animals more than wildlife as well in general. I think that this is even as visitors to an aquarium, we wouldn't know what happens back of house, how animals are being bred, how even baby axolots look like, how baby shark eggs look like, right? So I just thought that it would be an enriching experience for myself.
From what you've told us before, apparently you had an extended internship, correct?
Yes, correct.
Yeah.
So I had a 6-month internship instead of the usual 5 months that everyone else got.
So what exactly like did you do in the extra month that was like how
Mm.
was it like different or why did it get extended?
Okay, so back then I believe Temasek Polytechnic and previously the Sea Aquarium was known as Marine Life Park. They had
Yeah.
like I believe some sort of partnership. So the breeding project I was in charge of, like they really wanted to see what results I could get out of it because my project involved like the breeding of seahorses, and it also involved like culturing these like baby seahorses to adulthood. So it involved like live feed enrichment for these seahorses as well. Then because of the sheer amount of time needed, firstly for the breeding portion, the next will be the live feed enrichment portion, and after that um, having to see whether the seahorses would be able to feed on these enriched live feed and be able to like survive to adulthood. So just based on this and the amount of data I needed to get to generate, that resulted in that extension. So the 1 month extension to get the results I needed to complete my final year project as well. Mm.
Okay, so why did you decide to stay in that profession after the internship instead of going on to pursue a different field?
Mm. So most of us, if we have taken this path, right, to study veterinary technology, obviously all of us are probably into science and we're into biology, animals. I mean, we all care for animals, right?
Yeah.
So there are several paths that I could have taken. So one would be maybe wildlife, maybe towards environmental science. So animals you'll find in the environment, say for example, N parks, right? And then I could have also gone down the most commonly taken path, working in a veterinary clinic. But I thought that since I already had this great opportunity with this internship, right, and having built those contacts, I figured it was a great platform for me to start my full-time career with the aquarium. And then definitely the 6 months internship, having worked with seahorses, that was just one species of animals I was exposed to. So I wanted to, I mean, of course, the time I'd spent in the aquarium had piqued my interest in many other species. Say, for example, my favorite so far would probably be the pine cone fish. Looks like a really unassuming animal, not really good looking, but very inquisitive creature. And
Mm.
I thought that those different species that we're not commonly exposed to, right, would be something I want to work with moving forward. And like what I mentioned earlier, it's a very unique experience that is rare. It's hard to come by. And the fact that this Temasek Poly internship had given me this placement was an opportunity I did not want to let slip. And
Mm.
that's why I chose to pursue a career with the aquarium, and then thereby work with the laboratory and veterinary staff to provide the care for the animals there. Broaden my knowledge in the aquatic sector. Mm.
So since you did really well in that field, do you have any advice for students who wish to follow in your footsteps? For example, like some traits that people in your field might choose to display to like show their
Did you mean like what kind of traits that employers are looking for in general? In
yeah.
the working out, maybe I can put it in a more general way, like just the general working field, right?
Mm-hmm.
So having been through a career change from working in the aquarium to where I'm at now in the US, um, I feel like a lot of the core traits that employers will look out for would be an individual who can take the initiative. So that I feel like is ranked top in a lot of times that I've been through interviews or even having conducted interviews myself. And then probably the next trait that people would look out for will be someone who is responsible, um, an individual who is willing to learn, right? Treat the entire career journey as a learning process, learning like to seek horizontal growth in a sense. And then someone who's a team player. Because for people in our field, will most likely, I would say all the time we'll be working with a team of veterinarians, we'll be working with operation staff. Like say for example, my time in the aquarium, I had to work with the aquarists, I had to work with the curators, veterinarians, and even water quality staff. So they would really want someone who can be a great team player, someone who's able to communicate and be responsible for the task that they are given.
Okay.
From what you shared so far, I can tell you really enjoy your job. Can you
I
share
do.
what's the most challenging part of your career so far?
Would you be referring to the aquarium or where I currently am at, or just in a nutshell?
Mm, just in a nutshell.
In a nutshell, the challenges I faced.
Yep.
So several challenges I've had working with animals in both my careers would be um, feeling like I have a huge responsibility to provide the right kind of medical care and to provide the best kind of welfare I can provide for the animals. And then on top of that, I've had to manage tight deadlines, a lot of tasks that requires my attention while juggling other jobs at hand and attending to the needs of animals in case of emergency and knowing what kind of um, care they need.
So is it correct for me to say that now you're actually working in more terrestrial species instead of aquatic animals?
So where I'm working at, I'm still working with aquatic animals actually, and that was one
Oh.
of my prior experience was one of the reasons why the management wanted to hire me. So firstly will be my experience working with the similar diagnostic machines. So being able to recognize like normal, abnormal values, parameters. And then the next thing would be my experience working with aquatic animals. Because right now where like research using like zebra fishes and medakas are up and coming, and they are involved in a lot of like genetic studies and breeding as well. So those are the two main species that I work very closely with. Then obviously, I would still work with the ones that we're more familiar with, right? The terrestrial animals you were mentioning, like mice, rats.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the rodent species that was taught to us in school as well, basically.
Seeing that you worked with many different kind of species, what would you say is the main difference between like working with aquatic species and um, terrestrial species?
Okay, most definitely. The first thing I feel would be the handling. So obviously for aquatic animals, you don't get much handling, right? They're like
Yeah.
in their like aqueous environment. And then and even if we do, right, it's very minimal handling or handling with so much more care because they need to still be in a like even if they're taken out of the water, say for example fishes, right? If we need to
Yeah.
do a gross like physical examination on them, maybe do a skin scrape, a gill clip, so or even like collect their fecal matter. So great care needs to be taken to handle them. So opposed to say right now, say for example mice. So this is something that we've had exposure to in Temasek Poly, right? And the handling is really different. So you'll be more like the scruffing technique is different for every different animal, even between mice and rats because of their varying sizes. And even now, when I'm working with aquatic species, but freshwater species, the zebrafish and the medaka, right? They are very tiny. So I would say, we would say compare palm size to maybe just a segment of your pinky finger, that kind of a size difference. So obviously, if even greater care is needed to handle them, but in a very different way, I would say. And then, of course, not to say like even their larvae. Even handling larvae is a different thing.
Oh yeah,
altogether. Yeah. Then if let's say administering treatment, say if you want to administer treatment for aquatic animals versus your mice, your rats, so you wouldn't have like topical treatments being applied onto aquatic species, right? It would just dissipate in the water.
Yeah.
So obviously we would have to like administer treatments that are suited for the different species and be aware of what kind at what dose we need to provide for these animals. Mm. I would say that's the main difference. Mm.
Okay.
But I mean, all other areas wise, medications, supplements, maybe even housing's another different aspect. But aside from that, pretty much applicable knowledge. Mm.
which kind of species do you prefer working with, aquatic or terrestrial?
Honest, I would say
Mm.
terrestrial still, because like my
Oh,
heart still lies with like, I mean, it's a very different experience handling like aquatic animals versus terrestrial animals. It's just like domesticated pets, right? You get to
yeah.
hold them, you get to like I don't know, they feel more similar to your like the cats and dogs that you probably have at home, hamsters, right? And then whereas for aquatics, mm, I would say that it's interesting because it's broadened my experience in that aspect, like in terms of their handling, how I can identify sick animals, how I would take care of them in a medical sense. But I think preference still lies with terrestrial animals, and that's why I kind of wanted to make the switch and get more experience in through my current job. Mm.
So can you share a bit of how your TP learning experiences helped you with your work, both during your internship and in your current job?
For sure. So, like I mentioned earlier, right, a lot of the knowledge that was gained in school, say for example, basic pharmacology, that's to do with like your drug interactions and all that, right? So that I feel was really applicable to a real life setting in both my jobs so far with the Sea Aquarium and NUS. And then top of that, mm, the VPM. Not sure if the current diploma still has it, but that taught me like how I can handle clients. So I feel like VPM was more tailored to maybe a receptionist position in a veterinary clinic, but I felt that that was still very applicable to even where I'm at now. In NUS, I have to liaise with researchers. I have to talk to them professionally. I have to discuss a lot of matters with them pertaining to their animal care, welfare, um, and so on. So that has helped me considerably. Mm.
Hmm. Just to be clear,
Mm.
what does VPM stands for?
I believe it's veterinary practice management. Mm.
Mm.
So how you would
Okay.
handle clients over like professionalism, I would say.
Ah,
Mm.
okay. Now focusing more on like the education part of your
Mm.
life. Why didn't you like maybe focus on pursuing a degree instead of just working straight away?
Yeah, actually,
Like
even
yeah,
before I graduated, I already started working already
yeah,
at
true.
VPN. Yeah.
So
So I felt okay because I already knew from the start, even like when I applied for to study for a diploma in vet tech, that this was a career pathway I could see myself doing for at least the next 10 to 20 years. So having done my background research, I knew that to sustain a career as a vet tech, experience matters. And because I prioritized gaining the experience, I decided to hop onto the opportunity when I knew that there was an opening in the aquarium with the animal health department. Then decided to kickstart my career early. And then looking back, I don't regret any of the choices I've made um, because I set very clear goals for myself. So right now, currently studying for my part-time degree, and this was a goal I set for myself to start studying for my degree or to attain my degree when I'm about 25, at least to get started. So by the time I'm done with this degree, I would already have about 7 to 8 years of working experience with me on top of this paper certification. I feel like building upon the other question that you asked about what traits employers look out for, right? I would say that it's quite unanimous in society. It's a unanimous answer that experience matters. Yeah, and because to employers, it would mean that you are able to adapt to the job scope, or you adapt to the task that's handed to you quicker, having had the prior knowledge and having had a hands-on experience. Say, for example, the experience I've had in the aquarium, working with the diagnostic machines, and then moving into NUS, having had that experience and being able to transition easier. So having this degree is, I would say, adding on the knowledge I already have from school in TP, and then together with the hands-on experience I've garnered over the past 7 years, then I also feel that like because of this experience I've had, right, it helps me in my studies as well. Right now, even studying part-time, a lot of things are closely related, closely linked to what I have done in real life.
So
So
it's really easy to
even
understand.
yeah, correct. It's something that you can visualize. I'm a visual learner myself, so feel like the hands-on experience definitely helped. It's just like how we have like practical sessions in school, right? In TP,
Yeah.
handling mice, handling rats, rabbits. So that definitely helped. Mm.
So you mentioned that you're studying part-time now.
Yes,
Do you
correct.
think that it's tough studying part-time, and why do you choose to do part-time instead of full-time?
Oh yeah, part-time degree. Anyone who's been through it, it's definitely tough because you've got to juggle your work on hand, your full-time work, which is okay. My hours currently it's like from 8:30 to 6. So sometimes if we have back-to-back stuff to do, it can be very draining. And then at the end of the workday, I still have to hit. Okay, right now because it's the COVID season, I would say that that has helped me quite a bit because I get to attend online lessons instead of being there in person, right? But I should think that if things go back to normal, where I can go to campus, it would be really tough because traveling to the school after work, having to still absorb all that knowledge, complete assignments, tight deadlines, um, degree. I mean, I would say going through a degree is really tough on its own already for full-time
Yeah.
students as well. So I mean, doing it part-time is just about time management, I would think, and being able to handle stress, being able to juggle, and I would say place priority. If let's say you're at work, you gotta prioritize your work, and if you're in school or if you're doing like your school after hours, then that should be your priority. It's about allocating the time for the different priorities in life. Mm. And then why I opted, your other question was why I opted to take part time, right? Is
Yep.
because I wanted to gain experience and to have that experience alongside me while I study because so far it's proved really useful. Say, if I were to have questions regarding in vivo studies or even like laboratory techniques, diagnostic aspects of things, it's all really closely related to what I do. And these are knowledge that I've learned in a work life setting that I can apply or at least be able to better understand content that's presented in school. And that's why I opted for it, even though it's a tougher um, road travel. Mm.
How do you think like pursuing a degree would help you further along in your career?
Mm. So, as I mentioned earlier, employers look for people, dedicated individuals, hardworking individuals who seek horizontal growth, right? But I feel like with a degree, that would help exponentially, obviously. Firstly, would be the amount of knowledge you gain. Building, it's like a building block on top of for me, it would be the diploma in vet tech that I already have. Then right now with my bachelor if I graduate with a bachelor's with in biomedical science. So that would be like, I would say, add value to what I already know. And then it expands my career choices. It doesn't limit me to just like say working just in the veterinary field. So having the experience working with animals, working in the laboratory, and right now with the knowledge I have from biomedical science, I'm able to venture into different fields, in I would say different aspects in the science field, notwithstanding just maybe working as a veterinary technician, or maybe an overlap like what I'm doing right now. I'm a veterinary technician, but I'm able to still process samples like how a medical technologist would do in a hospital setting.
So it's like um, learning, pursuing biotech, a biomedical degree,
Mm.
will give you more freedom in your career, basically.
I at least this is from my standpoint, and this is what I have chosen for the career pathway moving forward, maybe 10 to 15 years from now. Of course, this differs for everyone. Uh, Anyone could make a career change at any point in time. It's never too late. Having the diploma in veterinary technology, then and currently for me, I'm about to attain my bachelor's in biomedical science, right? Feel like this is like stacking um, knowledge from two different science fields together, or even like for these two, there's an overlap. So it's gonna open up more opportunities for me working in different uh, aspects in the science field. So I feel like it's definitely a bonus if, let's say, one were to get to pursue their degree. But obviously, that's not a path that is mandatory. A lot of people are still doing really well just with their diploma and being like gaining the work experience, being in like great jobs out there, other jobs out there. Yeah. So it's not mandatory. I feel like it's a personal choice, but I feel that having a degree would definitely help in not just horizontal growth, but vertical in the long run. You're looking at rising up the ranks, maybe. Yeah.
I understand working in NUS, you're more towards doing research.
Mm.
So like why do you choose to work as a vet tech in a research setting rather than in a clinical setting?
So maybe regarding your question, right? As a veterinary technician, I do not do the research. That is usually done by the research assistants and
Yep.
project investigators. So my role as a veterinary technician, right, is to enforce welfare and provide medical care for animals where needed. And then building upon my skill sets, working in the diagnostic aspect of things, working with a variety of animals, because like we mentioned as well, working with, let's say, aquatic species versus terrestrials, right? The handling, the kind of things that you would do to provide care for them is very different. So that would that's mainly it for me working as a veterinary technician in NUS. So also broaden up my knowledge in the research field, research setting.
Okay, so we've finally come to the last question where we ask all our interviewees, what advice would you give to your younger self if you're in poly right now?
What advice? I would say, honestly, just enjoy the process and just absorb as much as you can. Because I mean, of course, as a full-time, as a student, right, you are absorbing so much knowledge. You're handling so many modules in a year. Then I would say it's good to at least keep this knowledge or maybe at least apply what is learned in lectures and tutorials into practicals and be able to apply that into the real life setting where possible, because like that's where the attachments and the internships are helpful, right? Gives you that work-life experience. And then honestly, just do your best in school. That's all that you can do.
Yeah.
Yeah. But definitely I found that the knowledge that I've gained in school has proven useful in any aspect of my career so far. So it's good to at least be able to have this knowledge and eventually apply them in the future when one goes out into the working field. I feel like that knowledge will give you an edge over maybe people who do not have the hands-on experience or the prior knowledge. And plus, like veterinary technology, right? It's a very niche field.
It's comforting for, I'm guessing for the seniors, because now they are working really hard, and I guess it's like really comforting for them to know that what they're learning is really useful for them, that they can apply it.
For sure, yeah. For sure.
Okay, that's it for today. Thank you, Shermaine, for joining us.
Thank
If
you.
you enjoyed our video today, we have more interviews coming along. Remember to follow us on our Instagram at TPVWC and subscribe to our YouTube channel to stay updated. Thank you.
Thank
Thank you.
Thank you for watching this episode of Dear Younger Me. We hope you have learned more about the veterinary technician profession. If you enjoyed this video, remember to like it and subscribe to our YouTube channel, where we'll be posting more videos about other professions.